Hi guys, good afternoon everyone who is right now with us, who joined this amazing session. My name is Patrik Juranek and I am founder and CEO of Startup Disrupt, and it's my pleasure to welcome you at this event, Unleash the Power of Startups in Poland. It's our great honor to host this first event of Startup Disrupt in Poland with such amazing speakers and two great panel discussion about the founders and community partners. And what is actually Startup Disrupt about? In Startup Disrupt, we are now building a global marketplace for startups where all startups can benefit from each other. They can learn, educate, and connect with them. And we are trying to help them on this journey to validate their ideas and hypotheses and grow their business. It wouldn't be possible for us to organize events like this without our partners and who are supporting us on this journey, like Hub, Check-in West, Grow with Google, Microsoft for Startups, the Internet, and many others. And if you would like to ask any questions to our speakers during this session, please go to Slido. And if you'll use the code SDP, like Startup Disrupt Poland, you can ask questions. And during those sessions, moderators will have access to the questions and will try to answer them. So right now, have a seat, enjoy the whole event, and I would like to pass the word to Oliver, who will be the moderator for the first panel for founders. So hi, Oliver, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Patrik, and thank you to everyone who is currently tuned into our event. I'd like to welcome you to our event on how to succeed in Poland as a startup, how to unleash the power of startups in Poland. And if you take a look at me, I think it's very clear I wouldn't fool anybody by claiming I am Polish, because I am pretty much the last person you would imagine to look like a Polish bloke. So I am not the expert on startups in Poland, but luckily I do know a couple of guys who are. And specifically at this very panel, there are 3 of those. So hopefully my wonderful tech team will slowly start pulling them up onto the stage. So going one by one, first of all, okay, we have Sebastian, who is the co-founder of a software as a service Versum that merged with Booksy, where he is currently, as I believe, the general manager of new markets. And also on the side, he leads a marketplace for hair and beauty industry. It's very clear looking at his beautiful hair, very stylish. He is the expert in the hair and beauty industry. Then we have Michal, who after also being a UK university student, so great support for the UK university students. I am myself one. So after studying at King's, he had a career in Barclays, Erste Bank, and started the Czech FinTech Association. So basically, he's clearly a Central European and Eastern European FinTech giant, and now he is the CEO of the leading buy now, pay later app in Czech Republic and Poland with more than 1 million customers. And lastly, we have the very sharp-looking Karol, who has a extremely strong track record from PepsiCo through Philip Morris to Google, always being the brand manager or the industry manager at Google, working at Uber, the head of marketing for Poland, then Revolut as the country manager at Poland, and now he is the country head at AION Bank. So, hello guys, thank you for attending today, and I will take you one by one, ask you if there's anything that I should add into your wonderful introduction, as well as a special question that I ask every time. There's always a small little question, so think about it. What is your favorite TV series or film? And lastly, the third question is why Poland? So, I mean, for Michal, it's quite clear why did you expand into Poland? For Sebastian and Karol, you are Polish, so why not? Why didn't you go and have a startup career in Canada, UK, USA? What kept you in Poland? So let's take it one by one. Sebastian, the floor is yours first. So what was it? Is there anything favorite TV series or film about Poland?
Yes, thanks. First of all, thanks for invitation for this panel. It's a great pleasure for me. And maybe the easiest question, I think that France is my favorite TV series, and maybe not very very new, but I think it's is a legendary. And why Poland? I think that it's not a right question for me. Why to launch business in Poland, because I'm a Polish guy, but I think that Poland is a great place to start business for a few reasons. First of all, it's big enough to build a significant business in Poland. The market is and people in Poland are very hungry and the adoption of the technology is very high. But on the other hand, we have strong technology skills. We have great engineers, and for many years, the cost of labor costs in Poland were quite good. Now it's changing, and we can feel that the salaries in Poland are still lower than in the US or the Western Europe, but they are growing rapidly, and the market size, as I said, is big enough. But also there is a trap, and Poland is big enough to build a solid business, but sometimes it's enough big not to develop the global operations, and you can be too late, and there is no need like in Estonia or Israel that you have to build from the very beginning your business as a global one.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sebastian. Yes, France is it's what we call old but gold. And thank you for those tips, individual ones. We will definitely go into all these aspects a bit later. So thank you for that introduction. And next, we pass the mic on to Michal, who is presumably, Michal, are you in Poland or are you close to me in Prague?
I'm very close to you in Prague. I wasn't in Poland for the past maybe 13 months. So a long time. Cannot wait to go back. So look, happy to start with the TV series, Walking Dead. I got completely hooked on it with my wife. And I think with the pandemic situation, it became even more real in some ways. So that's on that. Your question was why Poland? I think for us, kind of for a Czech company, it's almost like a natural progression to look at Poland. It's 4x the market of Czech, highly advanced digital, tech-savvy customers. I think Karol will talk about the successes of Revolut, and also even for Revolut, Poland was one of the biggest markets. And I think that's a testament to the market, to the adoption of fintech technologies. And for us also, there was one of the drivers was the investor that we onboarded in our Series A, which was ING Bank out of Poland. So for us, Poland, incredible market, 40 million, decent size. The next market for us would be Romania. So we're kind of a regional player at the moment, but already looking at Western Europe and some of the bigger markets for expansion. So it was our first market to expand into, huge potential. Still, we're very small, and we believe there's big room to grow. And again, one of the most exciting markets in Central and Eastern Europe, probably the only one that makes sense. Please don't expand to Czech Republic. It's too small. As Sebastian said, the market is too small, and you can get stuck in it for quite a while.
Thank you for that. And definitely, as a aspiring entrepreneur, a student at the moment, I wish I built a small company of 1 million plus customers. So very humble from you, Michal. Thank you for your input. And lastly, Karol, the same questions. Did I miss anything? Favorite series or film, and why Poland?
I think the fail is hard to pick because they're for the wire the most complex, very deep into understand things and society. My voice is robotic. One second.
Yeah, I don't know if it's
Yeah.
Karol or me, but I hear Karol is robotic.
1 sec.
So we should have a side chat with Karol.
Yes, I heard the same.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it any better?
Much better.
Yes. Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay.
Not better.
Yeah. So going back to what I said, like favorite TV series is definitely The Wire, because of the very complex picture of the society, quite long, quite deep, and hard to watch not being focused, which I'm always struggling with. So, you know, this is the one of the TV series that you need to put your smartphone off and just be there and watch it. In terms of why Poland, like, it's quite a specific question for a poll, because, you know, for me it would be a question, why other country? Yeah, so to reverse that question, I was never tempted to go abroad because of the opportunities I always had domestically. Yeah, so there was no temptation for me to go, for example, to UK, etc. If you look at the GDP growth of Poland for the last 25 years and you compare with other countries globally, Poland is going to be in one of, I think, top 5, at least top 5. Yeah, so looking at the perspective with such a booming market, I think this is the place to be in Europe, and here's the music playing. So I was always into doing business in Poland.
Yeah, those definitely, but clearly you are absolutely rocking it with the incredible streak of companies you've been involved with. So definitely, if that's a recommendation to our viewers, if you have the skills as Karol, definitely there is no need to go into the fancy markets of the UK and the US. So taking it again one by one, what we will do is definitely discuss. Now I have problems with my voice. Apparently,
Now it's better. That's okay.
Now it's better.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Our technology is acting up a bit today, so bear with us, please. But yes, bringing it back to the beginning where I said we would cover these different parts one by one. So I think it would really sort of make sense to again ask you about the specifics you've seen. So for example, I think it's good to sort of firstly inspire the people to really care about Poland. So you've mentioned some positives about Poland. So it might be the size, it might be the tech advancements. So what in your careers have you seen as the biggest benefits of taking Poland as a market? And also, what do you, in your opinion, see the big opportunities in the future to be? Because obviously some markets might be big now, but not in the future. But also, what do you see is sort of the long-term vision for Poland? Will Poland keep growing as a market? Will its attractiveness decline or go up? So again, starting with Sebastian, what, in your opinion, are the biggest strengths of Poland as a market?
I think that as Michal said, we have tech-savvy people in Poland, and they are really interested in using technology. And we are a few years behind Western Europe and US. And if something works really well in US, probably there is a space and room for building such a business also in Poland. But on the other hand, we can see that in some verticals, for example, probably Karol knows more about it as banking or financial services. We are more developed, and when something what we face, for example, in the Latin America, where we have bigger markets with the bigger potential. We can see that the payments and which are enabler for launching new business are not on this as high level as in Poland. So I think that is also great place for payment-oriented companies. And we are the booking platform, but the payments are the enabler for in some our projects. We think that Poland is a good market also for such products.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. And let's actually stay in the domain of fintech, but I think it's also important to sort of know the differences that one can expect and that one will experience when expanding into Poland, or already when starting a startup in Poland, but coming from an outside country. So, Michal, what have been the biggest differences that you've seen coming from Prague, Czech Republic, the Czech startup ecosystem, and suddenly you try to go into Poland, go into that ecosystem, attract Polish customers? What were the biggest differences? What are the biggest key differentiators about Poland?
Sure. So I think one that's interesting around Poland is it's a high volume, high number of customers market, but very low margin. So when we actually look at the profitability of our Czech business and compare it to the Polish business, the Czech business continues to be more profitable. The reason is in Poland you have, I think, close to 30 banks competing for a customer, acquiring a customer, and I know Karol will talk about it as well. Which puts a lot of pressure when it comes to pricing, when it comes to incentives, when you actually want to onboard or actually win a client relationship. So the market is definitely very competitive, given the size. I mean, there are a lot of players in the banking space. So I think that for us, it was definitely kind of a step up coming from a market where you have maybe 8-9 banks in Czech Republic and maybe top 3 are dominating the market. And you could be almost like a one-eyed king among the blind. It doesn't work like that in Poland. I think another big learning for us in Poland was that we needed to be very local. So today in Poland, we have a team of 40 people. We are backed by local capital, local banks. And we really built Twisto as a Polish company with Polish leadership, being very close to the customer and merchant. And I know this is quite different to what Karol has been building in Revolut, and probably he'll have a different opinion. But we always wanted to build Twisto as very much a local company, offering a local service and being locally relevant to the consumer. So I think these were kind of two big differences or learning points when entering Poland. And maybe the last one, I think it again comes back to the consumer. And I think where the Czech customer is a bit more conservative, something like the German customer, the Polish customer is very open to innovation. So trying out new services, ideally, if you give them a bit of a benefit to try the service or incentivize them a little bit, it works great. But there's a big openness for clients to try new services. One great example of that is also Blik, which is an intrabank payment in Poland, which amassed millions of customers within a very short period of time. If there were a UK or US-based fintech, it would be worth billions of dollars. So incredible success, and it's a testament how Poland is moving from a cash economy into fully digital, not only e-commerce, but also digital payments. And I think that's a very unique example of Blik, but also, again, the success of Revolut has really been unique across Europe in Poland. Karol, jump in and fill me in on your experience from Revolut.
What was the question?
Yeah, the question was, what are the biggest differences about Poland? What are the specifics of the Polish market?
Okay, so it's very hard to add on top of what Sebastian and Michal said, because they more or less covered the topic. We are a very modern society with eagerness to get things for free, or at least the price per quality ratio is the one which Poles are going to be looking for. But to my experience, there is a very big potential in Poles. Again, I'm going to repeat my colleagues, but being very into the technology and testing the new technology. But the great thing behind that is that they will be also very eager to promote those newbies to their friends. Yeah, so this networking effect is working really well in Poland, especially if you incentivize those users who can promote the product. They're going to work for you, and that worked extremely well in many businesses that I was involved with. Yeah, so the moment you offer something for Poles, which is gonna have this mix of global potential and feeling with the local flavor, they're gonna surely appreciate that, and they're gonna be the ones who are gonna communicate those products and the key features to their friends and helping you to scale the businesses. And that's not always the case on the other European markets, to my understanding.
Fantastic. Well, let me actually follow up on that. So obviously you've had a lot of experience marketing a very wide range of products and services, some of which obviously sometimes have a more sort of luxurious aspect. So what is the sort of positioning that you've seen these individual brands go for in the Polish market? Because obviously you explained that the whole value price versus quality ratio is one of the most important ones. So would you say that positioning it as, again, you mentioned local, maybe helped bring up the more pricey versions of a certain product or service, say now an Uber Deluxe or whatever it could be? Philip Morris obviously also a bit pricier. So what were like the marketing angles you would attack if somebody tries to enter the Polish market with a bit of a higher end product, price wise?
Cheap but looks expensive. I'm joking, obviously. Obviously, there is a big aspiration in Poles to get into upscale products. Yeah, so the moment you are being able to offer something which was quite unique, niche, or skewed to the wealthy ones, to the mass market plus, they're gonna follow. Yeah, basically, it's still, if you, for example, and that's obviously, gonna be a shortcut in thinking, but if you compare, for example, Swedes to Poles, I think Poles are more into showing that they succeed in their lives. Yeah, to put it in a nice way. Yeah, it's I think the more east we go, the more over exaggerated that's going to be, but still it's present in Poland. Yeah, so it's not about flexing and the lavish lifestyle. It's more about, I'm modern. I want to be part of Western Europe in the way, what products I use, what car I drive, what's my lifestyle. Yeah, so if you manage to offer this kind of experience, for example, for a cheaper price but with the same quality, then you may find a way to succeed. For example, like Airbnb and this kind of offers. Yeah, that they are extremely popular in Poland also, because Poles traveling across the globe, they're gonna be eager to get those luxury feeling, but they may not be wealthy enough to pay the premium as people from the more wealthy countries.
Yeah.
But in our case, we can also see that in Poland, even if we offer high quality product, small businesses are not eager to pay for them as much as in different countries, even if we compare GDP to GDP, but the ratio is different. And Polish entrepreneurs, especially SMBs, are very oriented on the costs, not on the value we can deliver to them, but the first a few questions is about costs, not about the value we bring to the business, and it's quite different than in UK, for example, or in Spain even.
Yeah, I think we're actually experiencing something very similar. I mean, one thing is on the consumer side, and as we said, giving a bit of an incentive to try the service, it's always very much welcomed. But also, as we offer our buy now pay later solution to merchants, we can charge, or we're basically able to charge 2 to 3x less to what the guys are charging in Western Europe. So there's a very big drive down on the margin. And as I said initially, it's a high volume but very low margin business, both on the consumer but also on the merchant side. But for some reason it works. I mean, there are still companies such as Twisto entering the market. Sebastian, Karol, you're both running businesses also in Poland. So there is some attraction of the market, again, given the sheer size. And the companies operating in Poland need to be very creative in how they monetize customers or how they actually gain a bit of a margin. And I think this hardship creates a big competitive advantage when some of the Western European players come into our region, or Poland in particular. They actually do find it very hard to adjust. They find it hard to adjust to the new commercial models, also to the regulation in the fintech space. So I think if you kind of crack Poland and you survive, it really grows a thick skin on you as a startup. And any country you go to, if you go north or west, I'm not saying it's easy, but trust me, it will be easier, and you'll definitely have a bigger margin to play with.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you for each one of you adding your unique twist to this answer. But I think some aspects of the Polish market are becoming abundantly clear. So thank you so much for that. So coming back to Sebastian, I mean, if maybe by now, if we sort of enticed some viewers, if we enticed a few entrepreneurs to say, hey, tomorrow I am booking my train ticket to go to Poznan or wherever and start my startup. I mean, what has, in your experience, what has been the support for startups in Poland? How is the startup ecosystem in Poland in terms of support, say accelerators, access to mentors, angels, and that sort of stuff?
I think that already we experience high boom on the VC side and angel side. We can see much capital on the market, and maybe the capital is not as experienced as we wish it to be, but when I compare the current situation to the situation 10 years ago when I set up my company, there is a enormous change here. And I think that if you have a good idea and you have a great team, maybe not big team, but the team for the start, and you are looking for the capital, I think it's quite, and I think very easy now to find the capital for kick off your startup and start doing and building your venture.
Perfect.
The only challenge is going to be with the size of the investment, if I can add on top of this. Yeah, because basically, because of the size of the market, because of the margins on the market, and because of, I think, if you sum up all the VC money in CE, that's going to be less than the modest VC in San Francisco.
Yes, exactly.
So there's always it's very easy to get money, but it's not that easy to get money that will allows you to really scale the business.
Yeah. And we have Series A and Series B gap in Poland.
Yeah. But there are also very few, I would say there are, a handful of companies who, I don't say reached Series B, Series C and required that amount of capital. So I think it's almost natural that in Poland you can get, funded even all the way up to Series B. I think you do see funds in the region able to write a 5, 10, maybe even 15 million euro check. But I think also many founders do seek external capital that can then support the company in the later rounds as they grow and scale. But yeah, I mean, the size of investments is reflective of also the stage of those startups. And I think also as there will be second and third wave of entrepreneurs, let's say founders of Booksy, Doc Planner, exiting those companies, they will also start recycling that cash back into the startup ecosystem. So I think we, as a region, we don't have the benefit of having fourth, fifth, or sixth generation of founders who have exited or have done an IPO and have kind of recycled that capital back into the economy. I think something has happened in the Baltics, the Skype mafia, and they had a bit of a head start. But I think as a region, we're maybe a couple of years behind. So I think that's going to be the next wave of founders exiting businesses and ultimately recycling that cash back into the ecosystem.
So I presume you are quite bullish on the startup ecosystem around Poland.
Yeah, I think our big learning is that building a single country company it could be great, but getting stuck just in one or two countries it will not lead to a huge IPO or big headlines. And again, that doesn't need to be the end result. But I'm overall bullish on the region, maybe seeing it as a jumping board where you build a business product, gain customer traction, but now ultimately you also need to look outside. And again, Booksy is a great example of that, who now run a global platform business. And I think again, Poland could be a great starting point, or the region as a whole. But I think if the service and the product allows it and there's enough capital, founders should look outside of the region to capture bigger markets. And again, I think if you manage to win or survive in Poland, you're well prepared to go to West or other global markets.
Perfect. Let me finish up this round of questioning with Karol, obviously understanding the investment side of things in this region. So what is the Polish investor appetite like currently? Which companies, which industries, which verticals are being welcomed by the VCs? Because even though, as you mentioned, sometimes the funding amounts might not be big, obviously for some verticals they are disproportionately bigger than for others. So what are the industries, areas, verticals that the investors, be it VCs or angels, are currently welcoming in Poland?
To be totally honest with you, I'm super biased with the finance, so I may say that obviously that's going to be the fintech and all the things happening in finance, but that may be like a very narrow point of view, mostly connected with my current job. But to be honest, I don't know. I'm not analyzing the VC market on a daily basis, so it's hard to say. But obviously, everything connected with the technology, with the development, as we have a lot of developers, so that there is an easy access to the brain power on the market. So if I would guess, that would be my guess. But again, I do not know the numbers, so it's hard for me to say.
I think you have the other panelists who are well equipped to answer this, but I think from my view as well, and obviously being biased, I think buy now, pay later is experiencing a huge boom. But if I take it outside of that, I think anything to do with e-commerce, and we have seen kind of huge grocery delivery services out of Czech Republic, but also out of Italy, raising huge amounts of capital to support that kind of service, as we're all still kind of in some kind of a lockdown, or obviously shifting majority of our shopping online. So I think any models with healthy economics and focusing on the new lockdown economy have been doing incredibly well and have been supported throughout the crisis. But again, the next panel is better equipped to answer this one.
Of course. Thank you for your answers, both very insightful. And another question, and I think this one will be common for you all. We've talked about a lot about having access to world-class developers, and obviously always building a team is very, very important for a startup. So again, starting with Sebastian, then Michal, then Karol, in your careers, in your experiences, what have you seen when it comes to talent in Poland? What has been your experience with finding talent? again, maybe just a slight reiteration of what are the specific areas that you're able to find talent very quickly? What maybe were the areas that you maybe found that needed to be improved or that you needed to outsource? So talk me through that. So again, starting with Sebastian.
Oh, it's a tough subject. I think that all of us, companies linked with technology, now experience a big problem with engineers. And now when we all work remotely, our teams and our employees are chased by external companies from France, Germany, and they try to hire them because our specialists, especially engineers, even sales people, marketing specialists, are well educated. They are quite affordable for that companies, but they are great professionals. And I think now is a big change in the industry. A few years ago, I also saw at the market that we are not really international experience. And when we want to build something and do something on the global market, we had to look for employees in Berlin, in London, to reach more experienced people, but not. We have companies like Revolut, Twisto, and other global Uber, takeaway, Pyszne.pl. This expertise is currently in Poland, so we can find these people at our market. But as I said also at the very beginning, now Poland is not very cheap markets like as Western companies can treat us. And I think that we are more demanding. And if someone is looking only for the cheap labor cost, it's not a great place to set up the companies. I think we are more focused on the quality now. We are world-class specialists, and I think that this is a trend now.
Yeah, I also agree it's no longer the case that kind of Poland, Czech are kind of the markets with with great talent but cheap labor. Even today, for a good developer in Poland, you can pay 10,000-15,000 euros per month, which could almost equate to something that you see in Western markets. I think it's kind of not about the availability of talent, but really the scarcity of talent, because you see a lot of high growth companies competing for within the same talent pool, and given all the headlines around e-commerce, fintech, and the startups, it's actually very tough to compete and attract the right talent and pay the right price for it. So it actually became incredibly competitive in both Czech, Poland.
Okay, that might not be just me. I think Michal just froze on us.
Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, so I suppose it's on to Karol. Again, I'll just repeat the question. Oh, okay. Michal is back.
I'm back. Yeah. Was it just me or was it everyone?
We lost you, unfortunately.
Just you.
At the moment where you started speaking about the scarcity of talent.
Okay, so I'll just finish it quickly because I know we're running over time. So I think so we're part of kind of the startup community, e-commerce, fintech, and you see a lot of great companies in Poland and in the region. And actually, it has become increasingly competitive to attract top talent and pay the right price for it. So I think even though there's a benefit of hiring people also outside of the region, it also happens that our employees are getting offers from international companies. So it goes both ways, where you can steal someone from Klarna or Revolut, but also they're going after our people. So even though the market has really become liberated when it comes to there are no borders, you can work from anywhere. it has become increasingly competitive between the companies competing for top talent. And I think we find it just very hard and time consuming to find the right people at the right time. And it has changed massively over the past 12 months. Super competitive lately.
Perfect. And lastly, to close it, Karol, is there anything you would add from your wealth of experience?
Can you hear the drill, or it's okay? Because
Okay.
if I was drilling after 7 p.m., sorry, not the startup office. So the one thing which I would like to add is if you go outside those startup technology bubble and you try to get people from the corporates, more experience, etc., there are many of those on the Polish market, but they lack the courage to join the startups. So it's always hard to get them onboarded. And this kind of reversed recruitment that basically it's you who pitch them to join you and why they should, and that they should be more brave and it's going to be fun and no worries, everything's going to be all right. We're going to challenge and conquer the world. But even if you spend like quite a significant amount of time of trying to encourage them to join, they're still very resistant. You know, especially those guys who spent like 10 to 15 years in some big corporates, etc. The moment for them to actually change the path and be more open in thinking about their careers without a clear path, there is a struggle. Yeah, so I always struggle with this, that I do believe that we have many people that would be great, especially at those later stages of development of the startups, but there is a still big resistance for them to join those.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I will just do one last round because we have roughly 3 or 4 minutes left, and I think this will end it quite nicely. So if there is one single piece of advice that you would bestow onto our wonderful listeners and viewers this evening, when it comes to obviously either starting a startup in Poland or expanding into Poland, what would that one piece of advice be? Presumably something you would tell your younger self when entering the market. So Sebastian, you can take it away.
I think that you have to take into consideration the local culture and as Michal said, I think that local people and native people from the market will be very important in Poland. We know that there were a few giants who tried to enter Poland, like eBay, for example, and they had some problems. And I think that knowing the local culture and our market with our history also, I think is quite important.
All right. Thank you, Sebastian. I mean, yes, and I'd like to take it to your LinkedIn description where it's all about right, like openness to other people. So in this case, it's openness to other culture and changing your mindset a little bit to embed better within the Polish market and the Polish culture.
Exactly. Yeah.
So next, Michal, one piece of advice you would tell yourself.
No, look, I think similar to Sebastian, if you want to build a local, or if you want to build a Polish company, you need to be local. You need to build a local team, local leadership. It's very tough to find that leadership, and it took also some time on our side to find that talent. But I think the market, the culture is vastly different, even to Czechs, us, and we're neighbors. And I think we underestimated that aspect when we were entering Poland, and we thought, look, the Polish will behave the same as Czechs. We're Slavic, but we learned the hard way that it's very different. Also, when it comes to kind of the competition, how they behave, but also the customers, how they use the product. So I think for us, or the learning is, if you really want to build a company in Poland, you cannot do it from the outside, and it really needs to be a big focus of the founder and the management team to launch and execute on Poland. It cannot be done as a side hustle.
Fantastic, thank you. And lastly, Karol, don't break my heart and don't say culture. Is there any other piece of advice you would bestow, or is it really all about the culture?
I would say that Poland is not only Warsaw. And I have this feeling that many of entrepreneurs, they visit Warsaw, they get to know the city and think this is the Poland. This is not. It's like with every other capital city in the different countries. The different cities and the smaller towns in Poland can be very different. So understanding that will give you a lot of handicap if you try to conquer the whole world, not only Poland.
Fantastic. Well, there you have it, folks. First of all, obviously, I want to say a massive, massive thank you to all of our wonderful panelists. So Sebastian, Michal, Karol, thank you guys for taking the time out of your very, very busy days and joining us today. And I honestly wish you the best of luck going forward with your startups. Although it's quite ironic that a 20-year-old bloke is saying good luck to your careers, where almost usually it's the other way around. But honestly, I wish you all the best, because I did my due diligence and everything you are working on is truly, truly amazing. So the best of luck. And thank you to everyone for attending. But soon there is another panel discussion, which will be taken over by my fellow co-moderator, Ahmad, who should be joining right about now. Yes, here he is on my side right here. So hello. Yeah, hi. This side, that side. The mirroring is a bit odd, but yeah, thank you for listening to our first panel, and please do enjoy the second one right now.
Thank you, Oliver, and hi everyone. And I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to see how our other speakers are just going to add information. To be honest with you, it also went really well by what Karol mentioned about the fact that Poland is not Warsaw. We really want to have some, let's just say, holistic approach of where the whole ecosystem is, not just one city or one specific location, not even one gender. Let's just say that we want to just see everybody and everything. And I'm more than happy to have the pleasure of moderating this panel. Very, very interesting people at this event. And at the same time, I'm very happy to moderate this specific one, because I know most of these people. I know that how good they are in what they're doing. I'm in Poland for almost 10 years. I try to basically do everything around the startup ecosystem. So when I saw that there is an event about, like partnering and ecosystem, I thought that might be a perfect opportunity to, just somehow try to share the knowledge of all these interesting people and then try to share it with all of you guys. So I just don't know exactly how the other speakers are going to join, but perfect. Hi, Jacob.
Hi, Ahmad.
Hi.
Good to see you. Hi, everyone.
Perfect.
Hi everyone.
Hi. Hi, Michal. Also, long time no see.
Yeah.
Perfect. And I'm also very happy that I see that Renata finally managed to set her video there. Perfect. Hi. So if you don't mind, I'm not going to take too much time of your guys. And let's just say that we're just going to randomly introduce ourselves and then try to kick off. If you don't mind, I'm just going to go with ladies first, and I'm going to ask Renata to start. You're mute, Renata. Perfect.
Can you hear me? All right.
Now, yes.
Hello, everyone. So very briefly, I was one of the founders of Girls in Tech branch an organization that is international and it's supporting women in tech. That was quite a few years ago. I feel that the situation of Polish women has changed since. Right now, I'm building my own thing myself, so I am seeing the scene from the other side. Yeah, I don't think that there is much more information needed in the context.
Thank you. I mean, we will definitely get back to more details of that. So let's just go from startups to people who pay for startups, and let's just go to PARP. So Jacek, maybe you can try to introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for inviting me for this interesting discussion, the panel. My name is Jacek Bukowicki. I'm an, let's say, ex-startupper. I mean, I tried a few businesses long before startups were popular in Poland. That's sort of 2003 or 4. But I'm still hoping to to become a new startupper. So far I gathered more failures and lessons. But for the time being and for some time now, I've been working for the Polish Agency for Enterprise Development and precisely supporting startups for many years, I think since 2008. So I have sort of an overview of how we developed in the ecosystem. We've been trying to fill the gaps where local market couldn't do it for some time. Especially the financial gap. So just for short.
Sure. And Michal, from your background, I can see you're not in the campus. So you can introduce yourself and also tell me where you are.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not in the campus. So I'm Michal. I'm leading Google for Startups and Campus. As you can see, I'm not at the campus. I'm at home. Our physical space is still closed due to the restrictions, but we can probably elaborate more on this when it's going to be open. My background is basically 15 years at Google, so quite a while, and the last 6 years I spent working with startups and supporting the international development of the startups. Through first of all the team that we've built to directly support startups, now also as part of Google for Startups and the global organization.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. And last but not the least, Jacob.
Thanks, Ahmad, and hi again to everyone. So the last 4 years, I've been a part of investment team of Kaya VC, formerly known as AION, and I've been looking for startup and supporting the ones that we invested with a heavy focus on Poland and wider CE. So we're invested in companies like Dog Planner, Booksy, or Twisto, two of the people from which we saw on the previous panel. And I'm looking forward to do more of that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Something that I had as a question, when was the rebranding for Kaya exactly?
A month ago or so.
Yeah, because I was just like, I definitely know these guys, but what does Kaya means in your opinion?
Oh, it means many things. In some ethnic languages, it means rock, so something that supports you.
That's
it also
Turkish.
means older, yeah. In other languages, it means older sister, so somebody that advises you and guides you and has your back.
Can I just correct you a bit, because it's really beautiful. It doesn't mean the older sister. It means my elder little sister.
Elder little sister.
Yeah, it means that like somebody that is much wiser than their real age.
Aha. Okay.
So yeah.
That's good to know. So
it's a very nice name. I just wanted to, yeah, because I was like, it's a new name, but rather 10-year-old VC. So
that's what my brother would say about me.
Okay. Wonderful. So it's even better than what we thought.
Yeah, perfect. Very nice. So guys, technically what right now we're trying to talk is how to find the best partners for your hypergrowth. And one of the things that unfortunately, as a person that more or less 10 years right now I'm in this ecosystem, is what we see from outside of the ecosystem and what we see from inside are not the same. That when people, even from inside the ecosystem, they try to really find the right partners, it's always really hard. So from your point of view, we can start very simple and then try to see how you see the, let's just say, the ecosystem of startups right now. And then we can try to find maybe some solutions or maybe some hints. I'm just going to go the reverse, and then I'm going to start with Jacob and then try to have other guys' opinion.
Sure. So it's a very good question. So, just being 4 years close to this, what we can see is that there has been an enormous growth both in quantity and quality. So especially 2019 has seen a big jump in funding. And, that means number of rounds, that means volume of money, and the growth kept going in 2020. So, for the first time, the amount of funding got close to €500 million per year in Poland, which is, I would say, quite amazing. So at the same time, on a qualitative side, I would say that the ecosystem has matured. The participants, both VCs and startups, have earned trust and learned to extend trust. So the terms have become more standard. So the parties can focus more on value creation and less on having to negotiate, etc. And there's been a lot of competition in the deals, which we have felt, and we have seen them in valuation. But at the same time, there is a spirit of collaboration and openness. So the funds are open to collaborate, share the deal flow, and co-invest, which is great and has made our work much more enjoyable. I would say that in terms of availability of funding, it has never been a better time to be a startup founder in Poland specifically, and it's probably the case in wider CE. Perhaps there's still a little bit of gap in later large rounds like Series A and Bs, which we've also heard about on the previous panel. So overall, I think we've seen wonderful developments. There is more of everything good and a little bit of less of everything bad, and I'm quite hopeful that it will continue that way.
Okay, and we can also go maybe with Jacek, because like you guys, I don't know if I have to just narrow you to PFR, or we can also talk about to PARP or also to PFR, because if I will also put it into the PFR, then you guys are kind of like having an umbrella above all ecosystem.
Yeah, that's correct. I would agree with Jacob that I think that the ecosystem and people creating the ecosystem have matured, and maybe one of the evidence is the fact that some 10 years ago or so, we all thought that startuppers and people who create startups are young graduates, people like 20-something. But now it has changed, and now the average age of a startupper is around 38, 9, around 40. So maybe this is also relating to what we've heard at the panel before, that sometimes it's some people, they do quit corporations, but there are not so many of them as we would wish, but still more and more people are getting mature enough to quit this corporate life for startup life. And this means that we have become mature. And coming back to financing, same situation. 10 years or before, startups had nothing but just for starting the business, financing the seed stage, the early stage, just like the triple F, so family, friends, and fools. So not to mention banks. So that's why we started to fill this gap. And the VC market was very in early stage. Now it's quite developed, and what PFR is also doing is co-financing quite a number of VC funds with public money. So this is a great injection of funds into the market. Now, according to some reports, for example, Startup Blink, they say that in Poland is a sort of a unique situation that we have, according to some people, we have too much. I mean, we have over excessive amount of funds, especially public funds, and both in direct grants into startups and through VCs. Now, I don't have the exact number, but I think there's around 40 VCs co-funded by PFR with great amount of public funds. And their major problem is that they have more funds than the good ideas to invest now. So I think this is the great situation for Poland, also outside startups to come to Poland, because if they have good ideas, good solutions, they may count on funding from different sources.
Okay, thank you very much. And Michal?
Yeah, so I have very fresh data about our market, maybe, fresh from last couple of months, because actually we were celebrating 5 years of campus physical space. And, it was funny to celebrate 5 years of campus with campus being currently closed. So in November last year, we were thinking, like, we were planning how to actually showcase what happened during these 5 years and how to show how the ecosystem developed. And we actually prepared a report which basically tried to track what happened in years between 2015 and 2020 when campus operated. And the growth is amazing, like from 2,400 startups to 4,700 startups, which is double, in just 5 years. In terms of investment, it's 10 times growth, from $50 million being invested to $500 million being invested in the VC market. So this shows how the potential of Poland and in general Central Eastern Europe is growing. And I would fully agree with what Jacek was saying, like the influx of money from the I would say public money is highly supporting this growth. And this is a similar story to what was happening in Israel, for example, several years ago. And this helps really to boost the ecosystem. And talking about the amount of good ideas, this is actually what we are focusing on. So we're trying to support the startups that have good ideas to help them, polish their business model, to help them accelerate their growth, so that the VCs that are supported by public money and other VCs from other markets can find the good leads to invest and hopefully, find or create more and more unicorns from Poland and from our region.
Perfect. And Renata?
Well, I don't have such good news for you guys, because nothing has changed for women in tech industry. There is still less than 30% of women in the industry, in the whole industry. Therefore, it's much harder for us to find co-founders, women co-founders, and
I think there's a problem with internet a bit. Renata obviously mentioned because she is outside of Warsaw, and I think there was a little bit of a problem with the internet.
Yeah, but actually, Renata started a very important topic.
Oh, totally. Yeah,
I mean, definitely continue waiting. Oh yeah, Renata is back.
Are you back?
All right, I'm back. Sorry. Like I said, I had troubles yesterday, and I'm having troubles today. So yeah, 30%, less than 30% in tech industry. Then 1% of founds are women are gaining only 1% of the founds available on the market. This is like this is incredible, and yet we are making we're making $2 of each dollar invested in our companies. So it feels very unfair for us to be getting less money on the market. Therefore, also we are getting less business intelligence, because with the money comes the smart people that are supposed to help you develop your product, do the research of the market, and proceed with your product development, pivoting and stuff. This requires a strong leader, but also a supporting network. So it doesn't really help us not getting these investors that have the knowledge, have the know-how, the experience. But I feel that things are changing in the area of pandemic, because there is the market is more flexible. You don't have to work office hours, so you can gain more insight into the market. You can connect with people much easier, and it's less of a. I feel like there is more materials and networking and available in term like. We have as much opportunities as men do now, because obviously it was much harder for us when we had to leave households and meet people, and sometimes we didn't get the news about the meetings. And right now it's more transparent and it's much more available for women, because they just can fit it into their lifestyle, which includes sometimes raising a family. So yeah, yeah, I feel that there is things changing, but there is still a lot of struggles for us.
Thank you very much for raising.
Yeah.
Jacek, if you don't mind, I will definitely go also to your link. But what I just wanted to mention is that there are very good fundings that they're also quite recent. One of them is this research about funding in the CE region through the lens of gender diversity and positive impact that was made with Google for Startups, of course, UBS and EY, and I would say lots of different, let's just say, major people in the ecosystem. And also, especially, there was the Experior VC that, again, by itself, it's kind of a, let's just say, strange VC that is like fully female running VC that's, like it's not that common anywhere. And I would say that the statistics are as grim as Renata, what you mentioned. But at the same time, we had another report by MasterCard that Jacek also, was kind enough just to share it, that at least was showing that whatever is happening, at least Poland is relatively in the Europe is, let's just say, is having a competitively a better situation than other countries.
True, but even like myself, I'm not thinking about the Polish market itself with my product. I'm thinking worldwide, and therefore I'm not always looking for founders and investors within the country, and that is, that's a big. That I mean, Poland is much better than Germany, I would say, for example, but still we are not thinking about only our market, and especially for startups, it doesn't change much.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if I want to be honest, one of the things that even we started in the beginning about our panel was about gender equality. And now that let's just say that there are 4 guys and 1 girl, if you don't mind, guys, I'm just going to switch a bit of a conversation also to the fact of literally, let's just say, having the hypergrowth, but maybe we can just have it a bit more from the female lens and then try to see what we can do, because we have the VCs, we have the government, and then we have also a very big corporation that I know all of you have a very positive impact. So maybe first, maybe Jakub, you can try to see if maybe your VC has any specific feature or anything that's somehow related to this topic.
I wouldn't say we have any specific feature. I would say we have a personal commitment to fair and equal treatment of any founders and coworkers. Out of our most recent fund vintage, which is found under 4, out of first 7 businesses invested, 3 of them are female founders. And I think there has been a growth in the number of female founders just over the 4 years that I've been a part of this. So I would say the last year or so, or last 2 years or so, there is much more female founders in a deal flow as there was just 4 years ago. So I feel there is some positive change. And that is not to say that things are resolved and that discrimination on some level doesn't exist. So for me, it's about personal commitment to be sort of gender blind and only pick based of competence when deciding. So, the last investment we announced actually today is also a female founder here in Prague.
Perfect. Jakub, I mean, the person who is running the startups from the PFR is Elisa, so he is female. So I would just, to some extent, it cannot be that much of a fact that we say it's a man's world in any form or shape. Also, Julia,
we love Elisa.
That is also running the startup Poland. So, yeah. So, what do you think about this whole idea?
Absolutely. Well, we start with the fact that in my organization, both in PFR, I guess, there are more women on the team than men. So vice versa. I'm just every project that is co-financed with EU money has to relate to this topic and has to be positive or at least neutral. So this is another thing. But I'm just wondering where the problem actually can be and how can we tackle this, because it's not just a matter of some sort of barriers that are in the market, that there are some or maybe stereotypes. Maybe, I mean, who's blocking women to become founders I know more and more girls that are changing their careers into or developers or business women, and I think it's changing quite in a well direction, I think.
Okay, thank you. And Michal?
Yeah, so I must say we are taking diversity in general very seriously, and in many countries it will take different elements. You know, in the United States, Black founders, or in UK, these are the main topics. Actually, in Central Eastern Europe, this is women founders, and that's why when Kinga and the Experior Fund came to us with the proposal to join the report, we definitely jumped on it, and we definitely said this is very important to first of all showcase the situation, because as Renata was saying, like 1% of the funding is going to women-only startups, but actually only 5% is going to mixed teams, which means that in general 94% of the funding is going to men-only teams. So this is a huge disproportion in terms of any equality. The other element is the teams that are leading the funding. So the venture capital is also men-driven mostly. So this is also the important element. But we are taking also another approach. One thing is describing what is happening. The other is acting. And acting means in all the programs and all the initiatives like Google for Startups Accelerator or any other programs that we're running, we actually are maintaining at least 30 to 40% of participants being women, which means, like, you know, even if CE is better by 5% than the rest of Europe, our aims is a lot higher than 5% better. It's trying to be 50-50. We're not yet there, but we're getting closer. Also, you know, in Google for Startups community in Central Eastern Europe, we have around 30% of women. Which is also a lot, taking into account that there's around 10,000 members of the community. So this is bigger and bigger, and this is getting better, but we're not stopping. And even the accelerator we are planning to announce in the coming weeks will also have on our, like I would say, internal approach guidelines in terms of, you know, how much women-led startups we want to have, and trust me, these numbers are not equal to the Central Eastern Europe current numbers, but are way more ambitious to improve.
I must say that all the programs I'm learning about are very helpful. I myself took part in the YC startup school, and that was a great tool to match with tech funders from all around the area. And that at that time, I was in San Francisco, so I had an easy access to people working in San Francisco area in Silicon Valley, and that was a great help for me. And I know many people, many women that gained a lot from programs like yours, learning from mentors, learning from workshops. Elisa herself is right now in Berlin. I met her in Berlin last week, I think, and she was telling me about the startup program that she's taking part in, and she was matched with 2 male funders. And that is the best way for women to basically enter the industry, I guess, because we need to be sneaky. That's the way, and you need to help us with the programs.
I think it does also a very important element. Like, one thing is women being startup founders, but also women being mentors. We have a great example of, for example, Kasia Dorsey from Yosh AI, who used to be a mentor, then participated in our accelerator, and now closed a great round in terms of funding. Yeah, so this is kind of connecting all the dots: mentoring, sharing knowledge, learning.
And it's really important.
Also say congratulations to Ania Walkowska, because she also today closed €1 million fund for her startup Propagate. So.
Really? Oh my God, I'm so happy for her. Okay, I need to send her congrats. I need to say that it's very helpful. I am myself a mentor in one of the programs with Bianca Sibińska program, that's Perspektywy. And I feel that the most important is for younger generation, younger women, to see the role models, women role models, and the moment you are supporting these and them doing the work of mentoring, the more like we are gaining from it. So it's really important, and we are really dependent on you guys to create such programs and help the younger generation reach the role models. You know, I can see many young, because there is no problem with learning how to code anymore. That was a problem 10 years ago, maybe 15, not anymore. So there is no problem in learning the skills, digital skills, but business-wise and strategy-wise and finance-wise, that's still a struggle. So yeah.
And maybe
Just gonna say,
self-esteem.
Jacek wanted to have some comments, so yes.
Lots of comments.
Yeah.
I was just recently invited to become a mentor to a very, let's say, female startup community. It's called Her Impact, and this is entirely dedicated to. And this is what I personally do. I'm trying to help especially young women with entrepreneurial aspirations, you know, to become, to grow their skills and self-esteem, to be more, as let's say, courageous as men. Yeah. But
guess how I feel in this. I mean, I'm the only woman on the panel, right? How am I feeling? It does require a lot of courage, and it does require combating this intimidation, you know, from us. So yeah,
that's why I just mentioned this before, this trend that I can see that so more and more participants refuse to join any event where there is just, you know, male representation, and I think it's a sort of a, let's say, bottom up sort of saying no to this situation. But I just wanted to just mention that maybe, I don't know if just looking at how just 1% of investment goes to female startups, is it the right measure? I mean, because it's not only it's not only about investment. When we see at such programs like the Google runs or programs from PARP, I had no problems when I wanted to set up some sort of an event with only female founders. I had no problem founding ones from, for example, our incubation programs. There are lots of them, and also what I can see, and I recommend many startups, for example, in pitching contests, I can see that women can perform much better when pitching.
I know,
because it's so, but many men do not let's say some maybe do not notice this, or maybe but it's changing.
Let's just say that we can address this problem, but I'm sure that within 1 hour 45 minutes we are not going to be able to solve that. But one thing that I have to say is something to be discussed, and even if you remember the way you started the conversation, is about the fact that this ecosystem from outside and inside are not the same. I remember an event that I was again going there, and then I just saw that again the panel was only male, and I talked to the organizer, and I was like, yeah, because there are no female experts there, and I was like, how many people do you want for your panel? And I literally brought 3 girls and 3 guys. By the way, Michal, it was under the previous administration at the campus. I organized a TechCrunch event that we had 4 juries as women, and they basically run the whole TechCrunch event at Google campus. And without any, let's just say, specific reason, also, even the winner was a woman. I'm just saying that these are not something that you have to do. And I'm going to be honest, I even got some labels, and I was like, oh, like you put all of them. And I was like, why nobody put a label when there are 4 male judges? Like now, let's just say for one time, try to do that. And if you take a look at it on that time, so for example, like it was Diana, but that time she was only running events at Reactor, and she had no experience. Right now she's running an investment part, and now she's an expert. So I'm just saying, giving people opinion and giving people the microphone to share that opinion sometimes might be the only thing that you need to do, and that courage and that experience can somehow reflect itself into so many different ways. But if you don't mind me, I see that Jacob is too quiet in the background. And unlike, let's just say, so many other events that I have so many questions from audience. So I'm just going to ask one question from Jakub that, like you would also have, let's just say, fair distribution of timing in this event, and then we can just, like keep going. One question from audience is that because you have experience with Doc Planner, Booksy, and for guys that they know that they are very, very big success stories right now, that if there is a startup that they are basically looking for investment for Series B+, what are your recommendations and how do they have to find these places in their network?
Yeah, so I'm looking also at that question. We can definitely help with that. I think we counted once that the funds that we are co-invested with across portfolio cap table, it was like 20 to 30 of them. So that's definitely a network that can be leveraged to increase chances of getting a good Series B or C round with a quality investor.
Okay.
So that's one thing we can help with. On the other hand, these days, if you have a quality Series B or C companies, I think there is not that many of them, and there are quite many funds. So if somebody makes it to Series B or C with solid traction and story, it doesn't seem that they have trouble raising.
I think they can just easily talk to Doc Planner and then try to understand how easy it is, right?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing to be done is to have a strong business.
Exactly.
But on the network side, definitely we do our best to help our co-investment and follow-on partners see the quality of the companies and support the process.
Perfect. Another question that is not that much of a question, but I like it. It's that don't you have a feeling that in order to unleash the power of the startups in Poland, you basically have to get funded outside of Poland in the first place? This, I would say, it opens a whole different topic, and that is the fact that I always have this problem. Polish startups are not startups in Poland. And these are the definitions that we really have to understand. Because if Booksy would be based in the US, but they still feel that they are Polish, they are not startups in Poland, but they are Polish startups. And if a guy from Algeria is right now working in Poland and he's a startup, he is a startup in Poland. And we really have to separate these things together. If one initiative is happening, nobody really separates these things from each other. That are these things for Polish startups or they are for startups in Poland? Like, again, Renata mentioned about YC. Like, if you go to Y Combinator and 500 startups, you see a lot of interesting Polish people there. And they are a part of the Polish ecosystem. And this is the thing that we really have to clear in our head. In Google, some of the senior managers are Polish.
And there is also many, many people in tech that never work in Poland. There is software houses that never do any project, Polish projects. They're constant. They are only working for American market, for example. So exactly. Yeah, it's very blurred right now.
Yeah. So long story short, this is I think this might be a way that we have to understand that we all, again, going back to what Renata said, we all have to have a global mindset and a global idea, because if you really want to just narrow things and then try to make things into very specifics, you are just narrowing each other. Even like me, how you're responsible for CE, right? So it's just the campus is in Warsaw, but the view is always way bigger than the market. There is also another question that it's maybe I can ask it from Jacek, and then we can try to just have more conversation with all the speakers. Is that one of the audience wrote that I have been trying to penetrate the ecosystem for the past 6 months and I haven't been successful. Well, what is the fastest way to access the ecosystem?
It's a general question. What do we mean by penetrating an ecosystem?
That is a good question. To be honest with you,
are you a woman or are you a man? That is the most important follow-up question.
And who are you first of all? I mean, are you a sort of an early stage inventor, growth startup at the growth stage? If you are a startup on a growth stage from outside, I think one of the best things is to join our Poland Prize program, which is going to be launched soon. I mean, the second edition, because last year we finished the pilot edition. It was extremely successful with over 100 startups founded here in Poland from founders outside, and most of them are still in Poland. I'm still in contact with them, helping each other and doing a great job here. So now I think the best opportunity to join and get full service, let's say, totally free of charge, is to wait a little bit until the end of May to join Poland Prize visa program.
Perfect. I mean, one thing that I would say as a person that I worked across many different countries, I really feel if in 6 months you cannot really enter the ecosystem, there's something wrong with you, because the ecosystem is very open to outsiders. Yeah. Like comparing it to Swiss ecosystem, to Spanish ecosystem, to Italian ecosystem, like the moment that you enter, people really welcome you. And that's one of the things that I see from a Polish culture to the startup culture. I really feel this sense of like welcoming and accepting people. It's very easy. The only thing that I see the opposite side of that is that you cannot easily stay in the ecosystem. Because I have seen a lot of people that they thought that if they start the first 6 months, they managed to be so successful, they thought in the next 6 years, they're just going to go that far, and they don't see the glass ceilings that unfortunately in our ecosystem. So I just say that you have all the experts that you see in our panel. Just try to reach either to PARP, Google for Startups, Kaya VC, and Renata also, just in case that, you know, like you need a girl and you need coding.
I was going to say, after what Jacek was saying, not only Poland Prize, but also, you know, it's not an advertisement, but worth to join Google for Startups community, and basically, you know, now learn online what's happening and get engaged into the initiatives that are happening online, but hopefully soon also, you know, meet the people live.
Michal, I'm going to tell you something. So when Google wanted to open up the campus, I had a meeting with the PR. And they told me that the campus is going to be open, because I could not work as an external person with Google, and then Google for Startup was a separate organization. So for me, that was a big deal. And they told me when the campus is going to be open, and I didn't tell anyone. But then they said that to Spider's Web, and they leaked it. So, and that's why the campus even started earlier. I just wanted to know if maybe we can try to leak it right now to tell me when Google Startup is going to be open. Because everybody is waiting for it.
Yeah, nobody's watching, yeah?
Oh, come on. It's only going to stay between us.
Yeah, if I was
I just wanted to
give you, if I was to give you a specific date, I don't have the date yet, but we are
with the months.
we are hoping to be back after the summer, simply. And
after the summer, okay.
Hopefully
after the summer. There is a lot of time after the summer. I wanted to share my perspective on it. I think that if you want to enter the ecosystem, the easiest way is to share something. The easiest way is to help the system somehow. Introduce some idea, organize something, join some organization, and become a part of it. That's the easiest way to penetrate, especially with the startup ecosystem, because there is the rule of learning and giving forward, and that's very strong. So I feel that this is true to any industry, but especially for that one.
Oh, thank you very much. One thing that, if you don't mind, also because we just really want to wrap it up, is Martin Schleck. If people really would like to have something about the VC ecosystem in the region, he always publishes very, very detailed information about how startups are getting funding. And Boris Moshalek, when it comes to the views and the news about the startups, I just say that follow these two guys, and you usually find a lot of first-hand information about the ecosystem, just to give some people some, let's just say, hack in this context. So guys, it was, from my point of view, very fruitful and very eye-opening. And the fun fact is that when there are 5 people, it's never going to be a gender equality, because there's always going to be either 4 more men or 1 woman. But at least let's just say that we're going to be a little bit more cautious about all of these things. And with that, I just want to say thank you for all of you for giving us your time. And we're waiting for the summertime that Google for is also going to open up the campus, and then we're also going to go there visit it. And just want to say thank you, and looking forward to seeing all of you guys in person.
Thanks, Amma.
Yeah, and I wanted to thank you for bringing up the topic of gender equality, because that made it gender equal in this conversation.
Thank you very much. So guys, yeah.
Thank you, and you have a call to action for the next panel to at least have 2 women and 2 men, and it can be the unequal part. And I also would like to thank you and invite you all to the campus and to the initiatives we're doing, hopefully soon.
Yeah, still didn't give us the dates, but okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. And after the second panel, I am back, and undoubtedly you are sitting in your rooms, in your offices, and you are thinking, oh boy, can this get any better? We've had two amazing panels, but believe me, it's still not over, and it will only get better, because now we will actually get to hear from some of the most successful, most thriving, most up and coming startups exactly from Poland. So these are the direct results of what can be achieved if you follow the advice of our wonderful, wonderful speakers from our panels. So I will bring them to the stage one by one, and they will have their classic 3 to 4 minutes for their pitch. Then they will face tough questions from the jury / the panel speakers. And yeah, so first to the stage is Jacek. Hello, Jacek.
Hello.
Jacek is from Autologic, currently in Warsaw, I think. And as a quick fun fact but you will see that very soon, Autologic is one of the very rare startups who are actually part of YC. He was in the winter cohort recently, so congrats on that, first and foremost. Second of all, try to share your screen. Fantastic.
Can you see my screen?
Perfect. Wonderful. And as always, the floor is yours now. The 3 minutes, 4 minutes start whenever you start speaking. And yeah, good luck.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Jarek. I'm a co-founder of Autologic. Autologic is Stripe for online identity verification, as yes, we are backed by YC, among others. So have you ever wondered what it takes to make a great meal, like a Michelin star quality meal? Well, it takes a lot of effort and ingredients. So you have to have fresh spices. You have to have good vendors that are delivering to you meat or fish. You have to have special cooking equipment. You have to have the vegetables. And among other important things, you need to have a great chef that knows how to combine those ingredients together. So it's very like in identity verification space online. So the landscape became so complex right now with multiple different new identity verification methods, including bank ID and government-issued digital IDs, that you need a lot of effort and ingredients to actually make it work. So what Autologic is doing is we aggregate into one API different identity verification methods, including video verification, banking data, bank ID, and government-issued digital IDs. We, on top of that, provide data normalization layer and flexible verification scenarios, plus fully custom UI. And we take anonymous users through the journey so they become fully verified at the end of the process. So we make accepting digital ID as easy as accepting payments online. The team is full of technical founders that worked together for almost 8 years before. So we started a company called Zencard that was successfully acquired by the largest Central European bank in 2017. And we encountered the problem with KYC or identity verification while working for the bank. And identity verification market is very big and is very dynamically growing. We divide this market into two buckets. The first one is regulated companies like online lending, banks, insurance companies, trading, investment, and crypto, among others. But also there is a lot of non-regulated companies that need identity verification online, including car sharing, car rentals, e-commerce marketplaces, vendor verification, or tenant screening. And the market currently is estimated to be $7 billion, but it's growing very, very rapidly. And a bit about history of AutoLogic. So we are very young. We incorporated in July 2020. We got accepted to YC in December 2020. And we made first revenue after being accepted to YC. We just recently closed our financing round of $1.5 million, and we are experiencing very, very high growth right now, having customers among many different sectors. We just, in the last week, increased number of verification by sixfold, and we doubled the revenue month over month. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, I'm here to help.
Wonderful, wonderful. Great growth, YC back. The future is bright for Jacek. So hopefully our jury will join. Yes, here they are. So Michal. Okay, so Michal, hopefully he can turn on his mic and camera.
Yeah, hi. So am I the only jury member?
I am not sure how the tech people will sort it out. I unfortunately have no access to the back end. I only see your faces.
Okay, so I'll try to use the time maybe somebody else appears. So Jacek, thanks for the presentation. Like, if you'd say, what are your two next biggest challenge, what would they be? One can be in the midterm, one can be in the long term.
Right. So the immediate challenge that we have is hiring. And so we just raised the money, so we need to expand the team, and we actually have growth to actually justify the expansion. And the other one is, of course, onboarding and getting customers, international customers. So this is something of a key focus for us right now.
Cool. I very much like the idea and don't have more questions. Kind of fully understand hiring is a big challenge, and then customer acquisition is a great thing. I think especially in the second one, if you'll be needing any help, please reach out. We can try to find an initiative that we're offering to support you.
All right. Okay. I will reach out in a moment on LinkedIn.
Cool.
I unfortunately have absolutely no clue what is happening, whether we are experiencing tech issues. I am currently seeing on my screen, I'm just seeing our three faces. So please do not shoot the messenger. I have no clue what's going on. I would not want to send Jacek away just yet, but at the same time, if nobody has joined, I'm not sure if the back end tech people will add them. I do not know. So presumably this is it. So thank you. Obviously, thank you, Jacek. Regardless if they join or if they don't join, again, don't shoot the messenger. But thank you. Wonderful pitch. Very clear. Very good timing. Also wanted to commend you on that. And thank you.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
All right, and the next person we have, hopefully he will be joining us very soon, is Matt. Yes, Matt from Ink Search, rocking the beautiful plate t-shirt, or not a t-shirt, a shirt, as I've spoken to him earlier today as well. So Matt working on a very unique project that I think not many people have heard before, or at least have considered the industry or the vertical. So please, Matt, the floor is yours. Try sharing your screen. Actually, the classic.
Yeah, I see it's quite hard. Just give me a second, one more time.
No worries at all. Wonderful.
Hope you can see it.
Looks beautiful, beautiful. And
Amazing.
again, the floor is yours. The time starts when you start speaking. 3 minutes,
Amazing.
4 minutes, then
Of
questions.
course.
So yeah, go for it.
I'm glad that I will be pitching in front of the people from Google, because my first slide just saying about the search volume for mostly known marketplaces around the world and in Europe. And I wanted to show that the niche that we are actually working on, it's quite big and it's growing. I mean that the tattoo industry actually has around 165,000 searches just simply in Poland. If we look through other companies and big marketplaces like barber, doctor, or massage, they have around similar or even lower search volume on monthly basis, and still they are very successful companies. So just to walk you through the world that I'm working currently, which is the world of tattoos. Simply, the world of tattoos is booming, and actually it's worth around $50 billion globally. Why it is so big? It's due to the fact that the trends for young generation, especially in millennials, has tattoos. It's becoming the mainstream for young people. And if you look through the main places in big cities, you can easily spot that around 40% of young people are tattooed. And this trend actually is growing. Just simply to say, in Poland, each one of 10 people in our country has tattoos, and it's growing. If we look for the young people in Poland, it's around 30% of them has tattoos. If we look for the global market for tattoos, it's around 150 million monthly searches just in Google. It's mainly done, of course, with the Europe and with the United States, but still is growing around the world. Just to say about the current situation in the market. So tattoos are quite different than the booking platforms for the services that can be doubled. This is a very unique place. Each tattoo is different, and each tattoo person which is making it, it's making something very unique. So if we look for the client's problems, they have an overwhelming number of channels to search for tattoos. They use Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, Google, but none of them is created just for tattoos. And for that reason, they are lacking the reviews of the references for tattoo artists. They mainly ask their friends, which is word of mouth, which tattoo artists they recommend for them. From the other side, the tattoo artists are becoming professionals just after the art schools. So becoming the artist in tattoo industry, it's quite common way to become successful when you finish the school of art. But they don't know any booking automation tools, and they reach too many emails from young people, and they have too little time to answer all of them. And just based on my experience, which I have a lot of tattoos and I can talk about them for hours, to make a tattoo before our solution, it takes around from 3 weeks to 3 months just to schedule your time with tattoo artists. We proved that with our research, and we asked last year on the convention, people from both B2C and B2B, what's your problems? And we saw that 92% of people who look for the tattoo, they spent at least 2 weeks in internet just to search the idea. On the other hand, 91% of them would find it useful to have a ratings about artists. From the artist point of view, the lack of channels of promotion, it's harder and harder to get to the audience on social media because of the numerous number of competition. And from the other side, 90% of them already invest in marketing, but they are not marketing people. They don't know how to do it. They just boost their posts. We asked ourselves how we can change it. And basically, we created the first booking platform for tattoo lovers. Our model is based on SaaS-enabled marketplace with the use of AI. We help people with our concierge and with our search bar to search for the best ideas for their tattoos. all of the tattoo artists on our platform are reviewed by us, and we recommend them with our great support of our customer team. We automate the booking process from the beginning till the end. People search for ideas on our platform, they pick the artist, they pick the time, they pay online, and they can simply go to the tattoo place or tattoo parlor to make their beloved tattoos. Then they can share it with us. On the other hand, we created CRM for tattoo artists. And by meaning CRM, it's not just the scheduler, it's not just calendar. We put every social media in our solution. You can answer through Facebook, WhatsApp, Gmail, Instagram, Pinterest, or TikTok in just one place. You can just swipe between them. We have appointment scheduler with automated payment for them, and all of the things on their schedule show if someone paid the deposit or not. And on the other hand, for the business owners, we have a dashboard to maintain which artists give the most money for the tattoo studio at the beginning of the month or the end of the month. So how looks the process? There is a client who wants to have a tattoo. They simply go to the ink search and they go for the tattoo session. Everything's happening in one place. Of course, we have a competition. Actually, some of them are just marketplaces or just CRMs, but mainly for the beauty industry, which is not the tattoo industry. And we really understand that the tattoo industry needs different solutions than the beauty industry. Our mission is that we believe that tattoos are becoming art. And just to imagine that if Supreme as a streetwear becomes so popular, if graffiti by Booksy can be sold by millions, why not people having tattoos can have very artistic plates on their skin worthy millions of dollars? We believe that tattoos are the new art of a new world. Just to aim that, we're already the #1 startup in Poland. We have more than 2,000 artists. Actually, we're open in more than 10 countries. Our monthly search volume is around 45K of people on our platform, and we have more than 100 bookings on our platform monthly. 85% of our customers actually make tattoos on our platform till the end. Our growth plan actually is to become wide in Europe in this year, and we're already expanding around most common and most important cities for us, which is Berlin, Amsterdam, and Vienna. And in 2022, we want to go global, which is aimed for Australia and for United States. Our break-even point is calculated for 14 months from now. Our business model is based on the success fee and on the flat fee for our CRM. The success fee is quite common for the marketplaces, which is around 20%. And the subscription fee for CRM, it will be around 100 PLN per month. Our team is complete. We're based on talents. Me personally, I built already a few marketplaces in my life. I worked for the Rocket Internet in Berlin. My co-founder, Konrad, is art director from Samsung. He built logo of SK Radio. He built the Chopin airport and many other big things in our country. Our team is actually fully customed, and we have more angel investor, which is Maciej Filipkowski, which is my great help to grow globally. Actually, we already made our investment. We have 2 VCs which invested in us. So our investment for now, actually, it's closed. We raised more than 2 million PLN, and we're ready to scale, but I'm more than open to make new connections for future. And from this point, I wanted to thank you with my team, and I wish to have great questions from you.
Oh, God, Matt, that last photo, is it a startup team photo or is it a rock band? Because that looked absolutely awesome.
That's my team. Sorry, there is no girls here, but they are inside of my team.
It was, I think, a hip hop band, yeah.
Let's say like that.
Yeah, I think I'm again the only one. I don't know what's technically happening, but I must say I'm super happy that you were showing the Booksy and the Booking.com and everybody that is actually building the marketplace. I think in general the marketplace idea is a great thing, and especially in a field like tattoos, I have never seen the global players here, so I definitely think that the potential is global. And there's always this question about chicken and egg, yeah. So supply and demand, and I see that you already are getting a good supply in Poland. How are you thinking about supply in Europe? Like, what's the channel of your acquisition? Like, do you want to acquire by simply salespeople, or do you want to acquire
community management? Our strategy is for the growth loop. We look through the Reforge and I'm the marketing person actually. So I really studied the marketing strategies for the startups, and I can encourage any startup which will be pitching here for the growth loop strategy, not for the conversion funnel strategy. We want to build our community, which will help us with getting the best ideas for tattoos in such trends in such cities. And based on that, we will be having our artists on our platform. This is the strategy that actually works on LinkedIn, on Trustpilot, and on many other places on the internet. We simply get the customers who put their content on our platform. They tag the artist on it. He's unverified, and we call him, hey, we have your tattoos. We see that you're great. Please join us. And this conversion funnel from this point of view, actually it's getting much, much easier. And the cost of the lead in these circumstances actually dropped down by 40% just by doing it. We started with the conversion funnel, but the growth loop, it's what I recommend to everyone.
Yeah, I mean, super, like during the presentation, and now I think you answered most of the question that I would have. And definitely, if you need anything in terms of, again, growth and scaling, please reach out over LinkedIn. I think there's a couple of ideas, especially that based on our experience with working with the marketplaces, we can definitely share.
I'm based in Wrocław, but I'm more than happy to see for the coffee in Warsaw.
For now, we definitely can sync in online as well.
Sure, of course. Of course, I will use this opportunity. Just
the idea is great, and the business model is checked, and you also added this ability to close the loop with picking up tattoos. So this is I think great stuff.
Understand. Sure.
Wonderful. I'm really looking forward to seeing Michal next time when he will be tattooed.
Making tattoos. He will make a tattoo. I'll give you some discount. Of course. No issue there.
He will have tattoos everywhere. So next time seeing Michal will be wonderful. So thank you both, Matt and Michal, for your pitch, and Michal, your wonderful and valuable feedback. Thank you both guys for attending this pitch night.
Thank you, and bye-bye.
And with that, we are coming to a close, ladies and gentlemen. We've heard two wonderful panels and two wonderful, not a word, but bear with me, two even more wonderful pitches during our pitch night. And hopefully you've learned a lot. A lot of great insight was shared today. And honestly, come back later, because we are running these events weekly or bi-weekly, so even more great insight is on the way. And we want to thank you first and foremost for attending, because without you, without the community, we as Startup Disrupt aren't worth much, are we now? So it's all about the community, and you joining us makes our work that much more enjoyable, and makes us that much more driven to keep on delivering. So thank you for that. Hope you've learned a lot. Join us next time, and yeah, until then, speak soon and enjoy the startup journey.